So as Bitcoin continues this sideways accumulation in anticipation of something huge, there is another bull market that's happening right now. And this bull market is making people wife-changing money. It's not where you think. You need to know where to look for this bull market. In this next bull market, some people are going to make wife-changing money, and other tokens are going to disappear completely. So today we're going to talk about this new bull market, and we're going to talk about what tokens, most importantly, we're going to talk about what tokens need to be dumped. That's the biggest thing. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. So good to be back. So good to be back. Missed you guys last week, but I had to get my health right. As you can see, I'm looking a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better. And it's great to be back with the team. My sniper, how are you, man?
What's up, buddy? I'm good. Missed you, though. Missed you very much, bud.
Yeah, we missed you in Miami. You got a massive fan base here in Miami. I can't tell you. Massive fan base, all asking about Sheldon. We really did miss you. And I guess we're going to be doing a massive show today, Sheldino.
Let's do it.
Massive show. So stay in the waiting room. I'll see you in a couple of seconds. So guys, so good to be back. If you're new to our channel, welcome to the most profitable community in the entire crypto universe. I'm Crypto Man Run. I come to you every day, 6 a.m. EST and 10 a.m. EST. Last week I didn't come to you, but I'm back now, and let's forget about last week. Let's just write it off to a bad week. The good thing is we didn't miss anything on the markets, right? The good thing is we didn't miss anything on the markets. Like, okay, markets sideways, etc. If you're new to the channel, there's a few good reasons why you want to subscribe to our channel. The most important of those reasons is what we call the Banter bags. What is the Banter bags? Wow, that means that Fred's back. Oh, hold on. This means that Fred's back. Fred's putting up slides. That means that Freddy's back.
I'm back. What's up?
Wow. Hey, guys, hold on. We're a full team again. We're like a full team again. We got the sniper, we got Freddy.
Good.
All right, so now all we need to do.
It was rough without you guys last week. It's good to be back. It's good to have you back, Ron. Welcome.
Let's do this. Let's get the community back. I see there's 6,000 people on the stream. What we need you guys to do is I need you guys to smash the like button and smash the subscribe button and tell people that we are back. And let me tell you why it's so important that we talk about why we're back. Because I am going to show you why there are two parallel markets happening at one time right now. There's a bull market and there's a bear market that's happening. If you think that there is a bear market, then it just means that you're in the wrong tokens. If you think that you're in the bull market, then you're in the right tokens. But let me tell you, there's definitely a bull market and a bear market going on. And this represents probably the biggest shift in the crypto market that I've ever seen. That is what we're going to be talking about today. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's get all people are asking me what to sell. There is a new bull market, like I said. And if you want to know in this bull market, it's different. So all the things that I said to you before, which worked very well for that bull market, great. But they're not going to work for this bull market. So you need to get ready for a different type of bull market. You got to be smart. You got to be strategic. You got to know exactly what's going on. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's get everybody watching this. We're also now going all in again on the new Banter bags. So for those of you who weren't here before, what are the Banter bags? Well, we took $10,000. We invest them in pre-market allocations. When the channel got to 250,000 subscribers, we gave away the first Banter bags. And now we're starting with the second set of Banter bags. Now, in the second set of Banter bags, we've got Giro Wallet, which is, I mean, it's still, even in this bear market, has done phenomenally well. And we also got you guys an allocation of Formation Fi. Formation Fi is a new IDO which is launching. I think it's launching this week. Keep a lookout for that. They gave us $2,000 allocation. That is now in the Banter bags. Those tokens are going to go to the community. When we get to 500,000 subscribers, which is actually, I mean, it's soon, guys. I was hoping that this competition would last a while because we kind of need time. Let's look at how soon it is. We need time to make money in the Banter bags. Like, we need time to invest and for the investments to grow. And I don't know, the channel's just grown so quickly. I think we have something like 315,000 subscribers. I'm checking it out for you guys now. So subscribe. The only way that you can win is if you subscribe. You got to be a subscriber to our channel. You got to follow me on Twitter. You got to follow Sheldon on Twitter. You got to engage, like, share. And just to be clear, we choose winners at random, however we like, from our subscriber base. we just choose people at random. So like, subscribe, comment, be part of the community, share the content. When you share the content, we really like that. So that gives you a higher chance of getting chosen. Okay, I do see that we are the fastest growing crypto channel in the entire world. We have 312,735 subscribers. And come on, guys, smash the, what's going on? Smash the like button. I'm telling you about an amazing new bull market that you all need to see. All need to see, because it's a different kind of bull market. And the only way people are leaving. What's going on? All right, so let's do it. Today on the show today, one, we're going to talk about the new bull market that's happening. Two, we're going to talk about all this ESG FUD, or this ESG narrative that is happening on Bitcoin. And it's big. I mean, this ESG thing is much, much, much bigger than I ever thought. And spending time at the conference last week, it's a massive, massive, massive thing. It could be the biggest opportunity and the last opportunity that you have to accumulate cheap Bitcoin. But it's a serious thing, and it's causing a new type of bull market, which is not happening in Bitcoin anymore. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Also, what we are going to do today is we have a very, 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 very special guest for you guys. Okay? We have the founder of Wall Street Bets. Yeah. And if I can get anything out of him today, I want to know what the next pump is. I mean, don't you guys want to know what the next pump is? So, huge show. I mean, we're back. As you can see, we're back in action. The only thing we're not back with is a studio. So what I'm saying to friends in Miami, if you know anywhere where I can shoot, where there is a great studio while we're settling in and while we're getting everything organized, please let me know. Let me know as soon as possible. Let me know if you know where we can get a studio. What else? Oh, later on today, we're going to release another show for you guys. And ironically, the show is about the crypto conference that happened here in Miami. It includes many, many, many big name interviews. Kevin O'Leary, Anthony Pompliano, Max Kaiser. And I mean, Fred, just call up that tile again. Weird. I went to a Bitcoin conference and, I'm talking to you guys about ETH and saying that ETH wins. So big show, because I'm actually going to talk to you about why at the end of this Bitcoin conference, it actually looks like the new bull market is actually being led not by Bitcoin, but maybe by ETH or maybe by something else. So welcome. Let's get on with the show. Smash that like button. I actually want to see how the likes are doing. I haven't done this for a long time. Let's see how those likes are doing. We're nearly there. Smash the like. Let's break this YouTube algorithm. Let's get more people watching the show. Let's tell people that Crypto Banter is back, and that Run is back, and that Sheldon's back, and that the whole and even Irina is back. Everybody's back. Let us get on with the show. Let us get on. Let me just get all our screens ready and get all the charts up that I want to show you guys, because there are a lot of charts going on. Let's see how the likes are doing. Okay, we have 5,000 likes and 10,000 people. Guys, something is not making sense. Smash that like. Come on, give us love. Let's get more people watching. I'm going to show you how to make money in what seems to be, well, everyone's talking about a bear market. Everyone. You walk around, you speak to people, everyone's like, okay, bear. And the longer that this market goes on, the more it's going to seem like we're in a bear market. And it is kind of a bear market. And if you want to understand why this market may be stagnant or seem stagnant for a while, you got to understand the market structure that got us here. And the market structure that got us here is kind of always the same market structure. People come into this industry for a certain narrative. They come in for Bitcoin, then from Bitcoin they move into Ethereum, and then from Ethereum they move into the major altcoins, and then they go into the mid caps and so on. And this is what the market cycle looks like, right? But I think that this market cycle is changing. And the thing that gave me the most clues was when I looked at the charts and I saw that there were certain tokens that hadn't halved, aren't part of this like raging bear market. Now I want to talk about those tokens. So let's get Sheldino on the line. Sheldino.
What's up, buddy?
So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to call up the chart of Matic.
Sure. No problem. There we go.
Okay, so that's the chart of Matic. Does that look like it's in a bear market? I mean, if you take Matic in the month of May, let's just look, where did Matic start the month of May?
Okay, so if we have a look, it started, let's see, around about 73 cents
Okay, and
in
where's
that
Matic?
region. 1.63.
Okay, is
So
that
if
a
we
bear
have a
market?
look,
Would you say
no,
Matic
no,
is in a bear market?
no, it's 100% up.
Okay, stop. Let me ask you about another one. Go to Solana. Go to Solana. Take me back to Solana, beginning of April. I mean, beginning of April, we're talking about 2 months, right?
Yeah, beginning of April, we're more or less around the $20 region.
Okay, where
So
are we
we're also
today?
142. So we're 112% up there.
So would you say that Solana is in a bear market?
No, definitely not. Solana's recovering crazily well, very, very well.
Okay, now let's look at another one. Let's look at Kusama. I mean, another one, Kusama.
So same thing with Kusama. Obviously, everything had a ridiculous drop in the market, but if you see where we're in from the beginning of March, you know what I mean, we're still over 100% up. So look how quickly they're recovering, right? And I think that's the power of what you're talking about with the right coins. It's about how quick everything's going to drop, but look how quick they recover.
But not everything is recovering, and that's the big question. Because if you look at Bitcoin, let's go to Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin in the month of April. Okay, Bitcoin in the month of April was $60,000, right? Yeah, Bitcoin is certainly not recovering, right? I mean, if you look at this chart, you don't have to be an idiot to say that Bitcoin is not recovering, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so what's going on? Why is it that on the one hand, there is this amazing bull market, and on the other hand, there's this amazing bear market? Let's do some of the low cap alts. Let's just go to things like, and again, no disrespect to any of these coins. We love all these coins. Let's look at Shopix. We love Shopix. Let's look at Shopix.
What is the ticker there?
You won't find
I don't have it.
Only on Uniswap. But those kind of altcoins are pretty much, I don't want to say the word wrecked, but they're not looking good. And so what you can see is that there is a massive, that's a great comparison if you line up the timings, right?
Yeah, you can see the big difference between the two.
Okay, now let's look at this. So you can clearly see that there is a bull market going on and there is a bear market going on. Some tokens are in an absolute bull market, some tokens are in an absolute bear market, right?
100%, yeah.
How do we know which of these tokens are in a bull market and which of these tokens are in a bear market? That's the question, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the quickest bounce. I think that's the biggest thing that the whole market took a dump on. But look how quickly, Solana's 42 again. It's ridiculous. Solana went all the way down to $20, and now it's all the way back up.
You got it. You know why? Because this was the old market cycle, and this market cycle has been going on for many years. In fact, 2015, 16, 17, whenever altcoins actually really started, this was the market cycle. People came into the market, they looked to buy Bitcoin, then they went to buy large cap alts, then they went to buy mid cap alts, then they went to buy small caps, and then the whole thing collapsed, and then they went back into Bitcoin. That's been the market cycle for as long as I can remember, right?
100%, yeah.
That market cycle's changed. It's changed. It's changed fundamentally. And I'm going to give you guys a clue as to why I think it's changed. Sheldon, call up the Bitcoin dominance chart.
Cool. Let me get this back there. There we go. Bitcoin dominance, weak as hell. Very, very, very weak. So
have you ever seen a market where the market is getting weaker and the Bitcoin dominance is getting weaker?
Never, Ran. Actually, it's something big to actually realize. The fact that the Bitcoin's looking so weak and we're not getting a strong reversal from dominance it's actually mind-blowing. And you know what you're saying is correct.
It's not mind-blowing. Now I want you to open up another chart for me. I want you to open up a chart called Ethereum dominance.
No, Ethereum dominance. There we go. There we go.
Have you ever seen a time where the market has gone down and the Ethereum dominance is about to hit another top?
It's about to break that high, Ran. That high, that previous high that we had there was Bitcoin, was Ethereum at, 4,300, 4,000. That was the all-time high. But look how strong this dominance is pushing up here, and the market is half the price of what it was. So that's a huge signal sign, definitely.
That's where the clues are, my friend. That's where the clues are. And let me show you guys exactly what I mean. Sheldon, stay on because we're actually going to...
Always, buddy.
Complete paradigm change. We have to change our paradigms about this market. And I'm going to tell you guys why we have to do that. So up until now, the market has had a very predictable cycle. The cycle has looked something like this. Bitcoin, large cap alts, mid caps, small caps, Bitcoin. And the entire mindset, the entire market was led by Bitcoin. If Bitcoin went down, everything went down. If Bitcoin went up, everything went up. But now the market's changed. And the market change came as a result of this ESG narrative. Everybody is talking about this ESG narrative. This narrative about Bitcoin mining not being clean and destroying the environment is a very bad narrative for Bitcoin. Much, much, much worse than I thought. The reason for that is because people, and specifically people in the USA, but generally people, they like frenzies. And the frenzy right now is around this whole thing of Bitcoin not being clean. And as a company, as a big company in the US, as a big investor, and even as a big fund in the US, you have to be seen to be doing your part for fixing the environment and making sure that we build a sustainable legacy and a sustainable universe and a sustainable world for our kids. No company in the world, no fund in the world wants to hang up a flag and say, hey, we're making all this money, but we are damaging the environment at the same time while doing it. And companies are making this a massive narrative. There's actually compliance officers just for ESG officers for companies to make sure that companies aren't doing this. Big funds have got these compliance officers just for ESG to make sure that they're doing the right thing and they're not investing in things that damage the universe and the world. All these things combined have tainted Bitcoin for now. And do I think it's the end of Bitcoin? Absolutely, absolutely not. I think it's a huge opportunity and maybe one of the last opportunities for us to buy cheap Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is super resilient. Bitcoin always gets challenged and always comes out of it. And the reason why this happens is because there are so many people in the world that are now invested in Bitcoin in one way or another, that there is a massive incentive to solve this problem. And like all problems in the world, when there is a problem and there's a massive incentive, both financially and other, and in this case, other is a big part of it is community. When there is a massive incentive to solve something, it gets solved. And I'm going to try and find you a copy of a billboard, which I saw here in Miami. But already people are talking about, hey, we are the only company that mines a green Bitcoin. I don't actually have it here. But we are the only company that mines green Bitcoin. And so there's this massive narrative that is going on around green mining. And for as long as this narrative lasts, I can't see Bitcoin spiking. But at the same time, people do want in on crypto. So the market's kind of broken up into two markets, Bitcoin and everything else. And not everything else, but some of everything else, so to speak. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let's look at the narrative on Bitcoin. ESG, disaster for Bitcoin. This clean mining thing that Elon sparked, and we don't actually think it's Elon. We think it's BlackRock, one of their investors, one of their biggest investors. Because of their green emission efforts, they are the ones that probably put the pressure on Elon, which is ironic because if you go look at the SEC filings, they had filed that they were going to start investing in Bitcoin in their many funds. So that's the narrative. Everybody's hooking onto this narrative. And until that narrative gets solved, Bitcoin isn't going to run. No matter what happens to Bitcoin, it isn't going to run. And when I say that, there were days when Michael Saylor would come on and tweet something like this. I mean, you remember days when Michael Saylor turned around and said, hey, we're going to be investing, or we're announcing that we're raising another fund, another $400 million, not fund, but you know what I'm saying. They're raising more money. Let me make that bigger for you guys just so that you can see it. They're raising more money. They're raising another proposed private offering of $400 million to acquire Bitcoin. Not only would those tweets move the market, but more than that, I want to see if Michael Saylor is actually going to be successful in raising another $400 million in Bitcoin. Because if Michael Saylor is successful in raising another $400 million in Bitcoin, then we know that there is institutional demand for Bitcoin. If Michael Saylor struggles to raise this, then we know that the institutional demand is starting to die down. Be that as it may, regardless of what the narrative is right now, Bitcoin ain't stopping. It's mining block after block after block. Yesterday, we had news. The news at the conference with Jack Mallers and the El Salvador president, which I'm sure we've all heard about, so I'm not going to talk about it too much today, is massive. And it was so emotional being there and watching it live. I mean, I want to play you just a small clip. It was emotional. It was deep. It was in there. You had to be there. I mean, I guess most of the audience were actually quite emotional about it.
I'll tell one story. There's a guy named Chimbera. He said, you know, my grandfather was a fisherman, and my dad was a fisherman, and I thought I was going to be a fisherman. I'm not like you. You got a Chase bank account. You get a debit card. I fish. Nothing more, nothing less. Until Bitcoin, man. Like, I got hope. I scan the same QR codes you do. When Bitcoin goes up 10%, Michael Saylor makes a lot of money. So do I. Chimbera's never had a bank account, but he's got a Bitcoin wallet. Chimbera saw that this is financial inclusion, that this is a network and a monetary system that doesn't hold any bias, and there's no intermediary that could tell him that he's not allowed. We were onboarding 20,000 Salvadorans a day, and most of them didn't have bank accounts. And so then I got a message on behalf of the president of the country. He talked about how to provide a high quality of life to everyone in the world, about financial inclusivity, about human freedoms and where we lost them and how we can reinstill them. We talked about the world we want to live in and the fact that we build the tools that shape the world that we end up living in. With all that being said, I'd like to invite now someone I've spent some time with to share a message.
My name is Nayib Bukele, and I'm president of El Salvador. Great ideas are beautiful and have great power. But like most beautiful things, they can also be more fragile than we think. When I was a kid, we thought about the future and we were delighted by its possibilities. We couldn't wait for it to happen and be part of its creation. But now, ask almost anyone what they think about the future and they will say something along the lines of nuclear war, climate catastrophe, hunger, pestilence, the death of life. We didn't take care of the beautiful idea that we create our own future, that we as humanity can do almost anything that we imagine. Our ingenuity, what separates us from other species. In El Salvador, we are trying to rescue this idea and start the design of a country for the future, using the best ingredients that makes us who we are, while using sensibility to find the best examples of ideas from history and around the world. I believe Bitcoin could be one of these ideas. That is why next week, I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador.
So that was the big announcement. I think you all heard it. I don't want to talk about the announcement, but I do want to talk a little bit about the implications of that announcement. So, you know, when you look at it in isolation, El Salvador, small country in South America, but it's tiny. It's tiny in the big scheme of things. It's not about the country. It's about the fact that if they are successful in passing this bill, and they have a legal tender that is called Bitcoin, and there are no sanctions against the country, and it is a country in good standing with the World Bank and the IMF and everything else, then the world banks are forced to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender, because you can't go to a country and say, hey, we don't accept your legal tender, and we don't have any reason not to accept your legal tender. So there's a lot of implications for this that people aren't talking about. Yes, of course, it's a small country, and I don't expect people to start moving to the country. But what I do expect is that others will start to follow. And you can see already that there's a tweet. Freddie, if we've got that tweet. So here's a tweet. And the tweet says, it says, as I was saying a long time ago, our country needs to advance hand in hand with the new generation. The moment has come, our moment. This week, we start with an important project to innovate Paraguay in front of the world. The real one to the moon, Bitcoin, PayPal. And so what you're seeing is that there's this narrative that's being adopted by countries now, small countries with emerging countries that are getting killed by this dollar printing, which is making them less competitive. And what you can see is that now there's this FOMO with countries. Not only that, as I said to you, now the world banks and all the banks in the world and all the clearing banks have no real reason why they can't accept Bitcoin. If it is the legal tender of a sovereign nation, and the sovereign nation doesn't have any sanctions against it, and the sovereign nations has not been kicked out of the IMF or the World Bank or everything else, there's no reason why a bank can say, sorry, we don't support your legal tender currency. And so the implications here can be absolutely, absolutely huge. We saw this also with a tweet by Joseph Young. So let's look at the tweet by Joseph Young. I want to show that one to you too. There was a tweet by Joseph Young, and he says, you know, what people aren't talking about is a big piece of news that went relatively unnoticed. Gcash, the biggest mobile wallet in Philippines, is reportedly considering adding or integrating Bitcoin. This is huge for adoption. And he goes on to say, Gcash is short for Globe Cash. It is the payment app developed by the country's biggest telecommunications conglomerate. It is used for anything from direct payments to paying at restaurants, malls, stores, banks, and utility bills. Bitcoin is already very popular in the Philippines, and he goes on and on and on. Now, this is effectively the equivalent of Bitcoin being adopted by the PayPal of the Philippines, which means that more people around emerging countries, and I make the differentiation between emerging market countries and places like the USA. I make that differentiation because it's important. Because in the USA, everyone has a bank account. Everyone has a Chase bank account. They can send money from one place to another. Places like the Philippines, places like Africa, where we come from, people don't have bank accounts. And what we can see is now countries are turning to Bitcoin, and these payment processors are turning to Bitcoin. And at the same time, something else is happening. Something else is happening. No one's talking about this. No one's reading this. But what they're reading here is they're talking about Janet Yellen. And Janet Yellen says higher interest rates would be a plus for the Fed. So for the first time, they're talking about higher interest rates. And maybe she's not going to backtrack after this one. But if you actually read the article, and it is quite long, it says, if we ended up with slightly higher interest rate environment, it would actually be a plus for society's point of view and from the Fed's point of view. So she's warming people up to interest rates increasing in the United States. Remember the last time that she spoke about interest rates increasing in the United States? Remember what happened? What happened? The markets went down, right? Let's look at how the futures are responding to Janet Yellen today. They're down 0.22%. So marginally down. Basically what they're saying is the US has now accepted that it's a given that interest rates may rise. The shocking thing that people aren't reading into this is that, well, a few things. The first thing is it says, Biden is proposing a package. It's a $4 trillion package. They're not calling it stimulus. They're talking about this as an infrastructure package because people are scared of the word stimulus. But it's a stimulus, guys. It's a stimulus. If it walks like a duck, and if it talks like a duck, and if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. This is stimulus, no matter which way you look at it. Now, read this. It says, we've been fighting inflation that's too low and interest rates that are too low for a decade. The headline measure of consumer price rose 4.2% in the 12 months to April. Didn't they say that inflation was only marginally higher at 2%? And now they're getting us to accept the fact that it's 4%. Why am I telling you this? Because what we're seeing here is that people are realizing that there is going to be inflation in the United States, that interest rates are going to go up, and that the dollar is actually destroyed. This is the best narrative in the world for Bitcoin. The best narrative in the world for Bitcoin. So I said to you guys, for those of you who are following on Twitter, I said to you guys, have a look at this. I said to you guys, you should be dumping everything. Yeah. Now is the time to be dumping all your US dollars. If you still have US dollars, what Janet Yellen just said about interest rates going up, about inflation going up, spells death for all of this. Now, if you watch my show later today, I interviewed Mark Yusko. And one of the questions that I asked Mark Yusko, I said to Mark, what do you think the master plan was when they came out and they said, look, we're going to print these millions and trillions of dollars to stimulate the economy because we have no choice. What do you think the master plan was to get the money back? He said to me, the plan was always not to get the money back. The US has so much debt, they could never pay back the debt. And because they couldn't pay back the debt, the only way that they could get rid of the debt was to devalue their currency so that they could repay their debt on a devalued currency. And that's exactly what's going on with Bitcoin. So you got the ESG narrative on the one side, FUD, Bitcoin will overcome it. On the other side, you've got countries adopting it. And you've got Janet Yellen basically saying, look, guys, sell US dollars and buy Bitcoin. I mean, if I were to translate this, I would say what it basically says is sell US dollars and buy Bitcoin. That's basically what Janet Yellen is saying. So that's the narrative for Bitcoin. And that means that people are looking for a new kind of bull market. And if people are looking for a new kind, or as I said to you earlier, it's not even people are looking for a new kind of bull market. There is a new kind of market cycle going on. And the market cycle is actually not about Bitcoin. It's actually being driven by something else. And I want to show you again what this market cycle is being driven by. And after we talk about this, I've got Jamie in the waiting room. He's the founder of Wall Street Bets. Jamie, I do see you. In fact, let me get you on here. Jamie, I do see you, my friend. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. If you're not in a rush, we're just going to talk about a new market cycle. We'll have you on in 10 minutes.
Go right ahead.
Amazing, and amazing. All righty, Sheldino. Let's talk about the new market cycle. Guys, that is the founder of Wall Street Bets. You know the guys, the Wall Street Bets, the subreddit group that exploded. Pumped up GameStop, pumped up AMC. I think they even pumped up Dogecoin. We're going to ask a lot of questions. Well, he's the founder. Sheldino.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go again. I want to see ETH dominance and Bitcoin dominance on one chart. Irina, I missed you too, my darling. I missed you. Back, guys. I can't explain to you. I'm so happy to be bringing you crypto love and crypto wisdom, and to have all the eight together today, as Khan says.
That's awesome to see you back, Ryan. Okay, let's get onto the same. Okay, so if I make this bigger, we can see this is the weekly chart.
Okay, wow. Okay, stop. That's fucking brilliant.
There.
Look at that. Let me tell you why this is happening. Let me tell you about this new cycle. The reason why this is happening is because people are saying, look, there is an ESG FUD and we can't throw all this money into ESG. We can't throw all this money into Bitcoin knowing that there's ESG. Right? I hear 100%. I wonder if it's coming from you, Sheldon. Are you going through your earphones?
No, that should be fun. I'll have a look.
There we go. Okay, there we go. So they can't be buying Bitcoin, but they do really believe in crypto. And specifically, they believe in a certain type of crypto. What is that type of crypto? They believe in a crypto that is working and has real life adoption. Even the biggest skeptics in the world, Sheldon, even the biggest skeptics in the world believe in a crypto that is working and has real life adoption. Listen to this. Would you say this is a good entry point for companies that believe that the ESG problem will be solved?
I believe they will be solved, but I look at it this way. I don't trade Bitcoin. I own it as a property. What I do now, though, is I actually use DeFi to garner yield from it. I lend my coins out in smart contracts. I make between 4 and 9% interest. The more volatility, the better for me, because I'm never a seller. So I don't care if somebody tweets something that loses 30% of its value. I'm not selling then, and I'm not selling if it goes up 30%, but I'm always using the volatility as an opportunist to mine yield. I get paid in stable coin. I can go back to fiat if I want. I say bring on the volatility because I'm not a seller, but now I'm making money with DeFi.
So you're talking about DeFi. Does that mean that you're an Ethereum bull? Because ultimately DeFi sits on Ethereum, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm looking at some advanced chains now that could be faster in transactions than Ethereum, so I'm not going to say that yet. But what I am a fan of is decentralized DeFi, but I've made my bets on both central and decentralized because I don't know who.
Okay, so what is he saying? He's saying he's an ETH bull. Okay, he just doesn't know how to say it. It's the same way he didn't tell us he was a Bitcoin bull for so long. He's saying he's an ETH bull. But listen, it's not about ETH. Even though this is the big part of it, okay? Even though it looks like this is all about ETH, it's not about ETH. And the reason why it's not about ETH is because ETH doesn't work. ETH is too slow. ETH is too expensive. So this market cycle, even though this market cycle is being led by Ethereum, this market cycle is actually about smart contract blockchains that can replace ETH and do what ETH can do. Who are the biggest winners in this new market cycle? Matic. Show me Matic. When people say they are building on ETH, they are actually building on Matic because it's a safe option. It's still EVM. It's still actually layer 2 Matic. Yes. Nick, I see you there. Solana. Of course. This is what the new narrative is about. People are saying we love crypto. We want to invest in crypto. We can't buy Bitcoin because we can't buy Bitcoin. So we're going to buy the cryptos that actually work and that are actually green. What are these cryptos that work and actually green? Ethereum, Matic, Kusama, DOT, Solana. Let's just look at some of the charts. Let's look at Matic.
You know, that makes sense, man. Look at, like we were saying earlier, look what is shooting at the gate so much quicker. Then look at that Matic from that huge dump. Look at that. That's insane rebounds here. That's a lot of interest in this coin, which is huge. So Matic is big. We can see Kusama. We can see Sol. You know, you take all of these coins. Look how much since the bottoms out from that. You know, they're each over 100%. And then we go look at our Big Daddy, and our Big Daddy is still hovering and sitting completely flat. So I think this mental shift is a big thing for everyone to understand in this market change that we're actually going into right now. We can see it quite clear. It's not about Bitcoin anymore right now. And same with ETH. ETH has recovered, but it hasn't done close to what the others have done as well. So it's making a lot of sense. I think this is the exciting part for us, though, this Ethereum dominance. That is a very exciting part, because even though this is going absolutely mad, Ethereum's not going that mad itself. But the coins that are under, those are the ones that are actually starting to really push through strong. So I'm excited for this new strategy.
Think about this. Consider Ethereum the new Bitcoin. Don't look at Bitcoin anymore for a while. Just let Bitcoin rest. Look at Ethereum only. Look at Ethereum dominance as the main thing. So let's be the show that actually spearheads this, right? So let's say for now on, we don't lead with Bitcoin. We lead with Ethereum, okay? And then we look at Ethereum dominance as the measure of whether it's an alt season or whether it's a Bitcoin season, right? So Ethereum 100%. Is the winner. The alt season is actually around ETH dominance, okay? Now, what are the big alts that are going to run? The big alts that are going to run anything that does smart contracts and is going to get adoption in the next 12 months. Okay, that is the disclaimer. Guys, this is the disclaimer. It's got to be something that works, is technologically strong, and is going to run in the next 12 months. If it is a ghost chain where people are not going to build for the next 12 months, dump it. It ain't going to happen. What investors want is they want chains that are going to be adopted now in the next 12 months. What are those chains? Well, we said Matic. Matic, when people say they're building on Ethereum, they're actually building on Matic because no one is building on layer 1 and everybody is migrating to a layer 2 protocol. Cardano. Okay, guys, this is huge. I spent Saturday with Charles at his villa right here in Miami. He is going to be coming on the show. He's just flying around the country. But I'm going to get the CTO of Cardano. I had a long chat with the CTO of IOHK, which is building Cardano. He's the guy, the tech mind in the nuts and bolts. I'm going to get him on. I had a long chat with him. I know the Cardano roadmap. Smart contracts, Gogan, confirmed for August. But I also know what's happening afterwards. So that's why Cardano is running. Okay, let's look at another one that's running. What else is running? Solana. Why is Solana running? Because Solana is taking on Ethereum. Because they're raising $450 million or up to $450 million to take on Ethereum. And the transaction, the blockchain is actually working. So here's the thesis. Let's summarize it for you guys. Forget about, let's get Sheldon back. Sheldino, the thesis.
What's up, buddy?
The thesis. Forget about Bitcoin for a while. It's great. Bitcoin's never going to die. It's amazing. It's the best thing in the whole wide world. But right now, it's all about ETH. And it's not really about ETH, just like crypto wasn't really all about Bitcoin. It was about a whole lot of other things, right? I mean, even these guys, I'm going to launch a show later today. Look on this channel again this evening, and there will be a show that says, Mr. Wonderful, Pomp, Max Kaiser. They all say Ethereum is going to win. But it's not Ethereum. It's smart contract blockchains and applications on Ethereum that are going to be used within the next 12 months. Got it?
100%. And I think Ethereum is just the leading, what do you call it? The leading indicator. That's exactly it. And yeah, here's a quick one as we close off here quickly, Ran, is this Ethereum to Bitcoin. You know, that was a beautiful turn there, but this just shows us a massive push to the upward side.
Sheldon, I said when we spoke about this, I said it's going to 0.1, and I said 4 months, and that was 2 months ago. We're on 0.76.
I think it's going to go more. I really do. This is looking really strong to take us up to these top levels.
Listen to Uncle Ran, guys. I've said this a million times. Speaking of listen to Uncle Ran, the birdie's here. Remember that birdie?
I like that bird.
Yeah, that bird was the one that told me that Solana's listing on Coinbase. Well, the bird's here on the tree. I'm going to tell you what the bird is saying in a second. But let's talk about what we need to do here. In this new strategy, what we do is very simple. You dump the shitcoins. And when I say shitcoins, anything that is not going to get adopted in the next 12 months, you dump. And you buy things that are going to be adopted in the next 12 months. These investors are very, very, very conservative investors. They want to buy something that's working. They're not coming here for real speculative investments which are going to work in 6 months, 12 months. They want in over 12 months. They want stuff that is going to work soon. So if you are invested in these altcoins, which promise to change the world, but are promising to change the world in like a long, long, long time, dump them, okay? And put the money into the stuff that is going to work pretty soon, that is going to get adoption pretty soon, that is going to get everything pretty soon. Remember that we had this chart. I want to see if I've got the pie chart. Remember we had this chart. The one that said 50% is in our HODL portfolio, 35% was in 10x gem, and we said then 15% must be in this low cap altcoins. Okay, that now gets reduced to 5%. Because in this market cycle, it's the large cap alts that are going to win. It's not the small cap alts that are going to win. There is a counter argument. The counter argument says, well, why not buy the small cap alts now? Buy them now and hold them because you're buying them cheap and one day the market cycle will turn. Right? That's the counter argument. I'll tell you why that's not going to work. Because unlike in 2017, projects raised millions and millions and millions of dollars. They raised 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, which gave them huge runways. Okay, it gave them huge runways. They could pay salaries and staff and everything for long, long, long periods of time. In this bull market, the raises were much smaller. The raises were 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. A normal company or building a protocol that needs to get adoption can't survive for very long on $3 million. Which means that if you are holding those small shitcoins and that company is not well funded for a year and this market cycle takes 6, 8, 9, 12 months, that protocol is going to run out of money. And that shitcoin is going to go to zero. And that's why I'm saying to you guys, take your shitcoins, the ones that aren't going to survive a bear market, and responsibly sell them and put the money into the stuff that is going to work regardless of how long this market cycle takes. That's the message for today, guys.
I think, Rand, just before you close off there, your top 5, what would you say your top 5 is? I think it's just there's so many that could be adopted. Your top 5 are on a good portfolio through this. I think it'll be awesome.
Right now, what are we holding? Number 1, Arweave. Number 1, Arweave. Hold on, that's the bird. Yeah, what? Yeah, I said yes. It's the bird. She heard Arweave and she went beep, beep. Arweave, big exchange. She said it. Arweave, big exchange, USA. Can't say much more. Arweave, number 1. Solana, number 2. Thorchain, cross-chain protocol. Protocol, number 3. Love Cardano. I think Cardano good, but Cardano's not going to give you 10x returns from here because it's run a lot. And then it's Polkadot or Solana. And I think it actually may be Polkadot because parachains are coming.
Now, obviously making those a good hodling part of your portfolio, what would you say a good percentage is? Because we also know there's great projects that are being launched under Cardano on the platform, and the ones that are on high. What is your best way to sort of split it to say that out of 100% of my portfolio, I'm going 60 or 70%, I'm hodling on these good main coins. But we know that there's good protocols or good coins that are under these, you know what I mean, that are on their actual. So how would you know what I mean, maybe a 70-30% to split it between the main coins and obviously what comes out under them? Because like you said, Cardano won't give you a 10x, but a few coins on Cardano's platform can give you a 10x. Like, what is your...
That's what we'll do tomorrow on the show. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll talk about how to buy the protocol and support the projects on the protocol.
Awesome.
And how to get your allocation. And we'll talk about the actual protocols. What do you say about that?
That's brilliant, buddy. I think that will just help a lot.
All right. So we really take some big bets too. Guys, don't miss it. That's actually going to be our show tomorrow. Yeah. So tomorrow, Sheldon, me and you, we're going to look at how to invest in a protocol and be safe, and then invest in all the projects on top of the protocol. Fucking exciting. I'll tell you what.
That's brilliant.
We're going to talk right now. He's been sitting here so patiently in the waiting room. We're going to talk to the founder of Wall Street Bets. Now, if you haven't been, if you don't know who Wall Street Bets is, then I think you should leave the show now, unsubscribe, because you've been living under a rock and you don't have any clue what's going on. I mean, Wall Street Bets, this is that subreddit group that coordinated, got together, spoke about, but pumped GameStop, AMC, and a whole lot of other tokens. And I actually have their founder right here live on Crypto Banter. And if I want to get one thing out of this discussion, is I want to know what the next coin they're going to pump is, but don't tell Jamie that. He must just think that he's here for an interview. He must just think it's a normal interview. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the side and basically try and push him. See, like, what's the next pump? And maybe we can coordinate the pump. I don't know. Let's get him on the line. Jamie!
Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You didn't hear one word I said there, right? You didn't hear.
Not at all.
Not at all. Amazing. Listen, first of all, thank you for joining us. I mean, it's such a great thing to have someone like you on Crypto Banter. Love to understand Wall Street Bets. Like why did you found it? Where did it come from? Tell us the story.
I mean, it's a relatively mundane story. Here I am about 9 years ago in my early 30s, hungry for risk. I'm single. I don't have kids to worry about, making decent money. And so I decided to start playing with the stock market in a way that's a little bit more, I guess, irresponsible, higher risk, higher return. And I couldn't find any place, surprisingly, because on the internet, you can find anything. I couldn't find anyone that wanted to do this. And I just created it. And sure enough, there was a ton of demand because it grew and grew and grew and grew.
So what is it? I mean, is it as simple as just a subreddit group with millions and millions and millions of followers that come together and talk about investments?
You know, the subreddit group is what it's most known for, but it's really just become an idea at this point, right? Because you have Wall Street Bets on subreddit, on Reddit. You have Wall Street Bets on Telegram and on Discord and on Instagram and on TikTok. Like everyone wants to be Wall Street Bets. And then you have Wall Street Bets offshoots like India Street Bets or Satoshi Street Bets or whatever, Korea Street. Like everyone wants this whole street bets. Let's take power into our own hands.
What's the ethos behind it? I mean, is it a completely decentralized, independent bunch of people who come together and talk about investment ideas?
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, it has quite a parallel ethos to crypto, and it started around the same time as Bitcoin did, right? Like this idea of, hey, we don't want the central banks to tell us, we don't want the rules to tell us, we're going to do this our own way. I think a lot of people that join Wall Street Bets or start trading like they do on Wall Street Bets are young people that were hurt by the financial crisis, and they're like, all right, I'm going to do this my own way. If they're going to treat it like a casino, so are we.
Do you guys despise Wall Street? Are you like the opposite, the antithesis of Wall Street?
No, we can't despise it because we wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Wall Street, right? What we are is we're pulling the pants down on what Wall Street's always been around, sitting there saying, no, this is exclusive, complicated stuff, derivatives. You know, you have to figure out a lot of things and you can't really come into this cool kids club. And everyone with a cell phone and Robinhood brokerage account is able to pretty much do the same and do the most sophisticated things that you could ever imagine from their cell phone.
So before this whole GameStop pump, and I think it was the GameStop pump which really, really, really put Wall Street Bets into the limelight. I mean, before this, was it a much more, we say, non-controversial bunch of people coordinating? Was this the springboard that made it a little bit more controversial?
To be honest with you, no. There were some things that happened before that, which, in my opinion, were much more controversial. I think that GameStop was the highest profile, and it got everybody aware of Wall Street Bets. It got politicians and artists and people from all over the world aware that this kind of thing exists, not only as a community, but as a concept of people wanting to come together and just use the market in their own way. But prior to GameStop, which was arguably just this massive short squeeze, it was more technical than that, but before that, about a year prior, there was a guy that figured out how to get infinite margin, right? This is like, they called it the free money cheat code. Through an oversight on the Robinhood app, they were able to deposit like $2,000 to $5,000, and they would just cycle these covered calls to get $1 million or more worth of buying power, which they could then just YOLO on some earnings report and behave just the way that banks do when they over leverage, much like what, I don't know if you're familiar with Archegos Capital, which they got in trouble a couple months ago.
Yeah, okay. Now, in terms of legalities of what happens in Wall Street bets, I mean, there was a lot of talk about, the SEC coming after the founders of Wall Street bets or people at Wall Street bets. Is there like a legal issue in terms of what you guys are doing? Discussing, maybe one could argue that you're coordinating. I mean, people argue that the GameStop thing was coordinated, right? That you all coordinated to squeeze out the funds, like the funds coordinate to squeeze out the retail investors, right?
Yeah, look, there's laws and regulations around illegal activity, and that stuff, these rules and regulations are very clearly defined. You can't pump and dump, you can't defraud people, you can't lie about stuff, and if you're pumping something, you need to disclose certain things, blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing illegal against people going on there and saying, I'm not going to sell this thing. I'm going to hurt the hedge funds. Just buy it because you should buy it. You see Jim Cramer on TV doing that all the time. There are instances where people try to do illegal things, where they're sharing insider information, whatever. We obviously put a hard stop to that. But when it comes to, people come together and say, this is what we should do, it's absolutely no different than what the hedge funds are doing it, other than now it's the retail people that are doing it.
Okay, how do we get involved? Like, if I want to get involved in Wall Street bets, like, how do I get involved? How do I join this community? How do I know, what the next pump is? Because, I mean, we degens, we want to know what the next pump is.
Well, I mean, you kind of are a part of Wall Street Bets. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Wall Street Bets is more of an idea at this point than just like a website that you can go to. Obviously, if you want to see what people are talking about on the subreddit, you go there and you just read the posts. You don't even have to have a Reddit account. You don't have to subscribe or anything just to read it. But now there's so many offshoots of it. It's like, hey, I want to take high risk. I want to have high returns. I want to put it all on the table, go all in, YOLO, whatever it is. And you see these things happening everywhere. So, as far as I'm concerned, when you're talking about people looking for the next super big pump that might be coming out, or a risky investment, if you said, well, instead of, I saw, the portfolio distribution that you had, if you decided to just go all in on one of those, then that's basically being part of Wall Street Bets and talking about it, getting people to be excited about it, and just going from there.
All right, amazing. Now, how much of what is discussed on Wall Street Bets forums, and I know there are many forums and you're not in control of all of them, or you not even see all of them, but how much of it is crypto? How much of it is stocks? How much of it is crypto?
I mean, it's starting to become an overwhelming majority. On the subreddit itself, they don't talk about crypto. Look, 12 years ago when I started it, crypto was much too young and the execution capabilities was much too difficult. I'm talking about liquidity, the complexity of buying Bitcoin, the bid-ask spread, blah, blah, blah. That's evolved yet, right? If I was still in control of that subreddit, I would allow it. And I do regret, and it was a mistake, not revisiting that choice a few years later. I just kind of took it as nope, crypto's no good, and I never went back to it. I've recently opened my eyes and said, I have made a huge mistake. And I can tell you by my Twitter follows, I have over 500,000 Twitter followers. I'll throw out a random poll here and there and say, hey, are you crypto or stocks? And 75% of the people reply crypto. So, it's first of all, those two things are joining anyways. You already have stocks on the blockchain. You already have futures, like Bitcoin futures on the CBOE. You have Coinbase that went public. You're starting to have a lot of things, that gray area. It's on the cusp, but pretty soon it's not going to be much of a difference. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm guessing the market for crypto style Wall Street bettors is actually bigger than the people that are just interested in equities.
Okay, now let's put Wall Street Bets aside. I want to know about Jamie. Jamie, I want to know about you and your crypto. Are you a crypto degen like we are?
I have just recently had my eyes opening. I just woke, I guess, whatever you call it. I've been aware of crypto. I followed it. I understand the technology. I understand the theory behind it, right? But like a good economist, I'm looking at it from an academic standpoint. As soon as I started learning about this a couple months ago, when it comes to the decentralized organizations, these smart contract applications of things, like the way that the routing is set up, the way that the way these things all interconnect with each other, I am baffled by the fact that that I hadn't learned about this earlier. So I'm as fast as I can becoming a crypto enthusiast. I don't know what the proper term is to call myself, but I very, very much, I think, is, in fact, that's one of the things that I've decided to become a part of, is to create a Wall Street Bets themed crypto organization, a crypto DAO, right, where we're mixing these two worlds together. I have a huge following in the world of equities, and I believe they're missing out. So I'm trying to pull into crypto, and I also believe the crypto people are missing out on equities, and so we're putting those two things together.
Hold on. So I've got a huge crypto community. You've got a huge equity community. Let's marry the communities. Let's bring your equity people into crypto. This is the one show where they can get fundamental and technicals, and it's no bullshit. And we can work together to combine the two worlds, which will mean that our huge crypto community will now get a more responsible portfolio because we'll also give them stocks. And your stock community can become crypto degens. And I mean,
that's precisely what I'd love to do. And thanks for that, because if those two worlds, when those two worlds combine, it's going to be the most powerful thing ever. Wall Street or traditional finance can learn so much from the crypto. The whole thing that happened with GameStop, where they couldn't trade GameStop anymore, the Robinhood and the other brokers had to stop. All that stuff is because it wasn't on the blockchain. It had nothing to do with these conspiracy theories of people not wanting to. It had to do with technological implementation of 2-day settlements, which shouldn't really exist in that world. And I think that the crypto people could learn, could benefit a lot from the tools, and definitely benefit from the liquidity and the market structure of how these order books are comprised and things of that nature. Absolutely. And that's actually, what this thing that we're creating allows, and we're in the process of taking the votes for we're creating these ETPs, which are like baskets of investments, if we call it that the community creates, and you can put Tesla in it alongside with crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, and you have these things collateralized in one place. The community is now deciding. The decentralized aspect continues to be there, and we continue to blur the lines.
Amazing. So listen, Jamie, we're going to be speaking to you a lot. Let's make it our mission to merge the two worlds together. We'll do it. I think there are no better people in the world to do it. We'll work together. We'll do it. Unfortunately, we are running out of time though. So if people want to follow you, where do they follow you? What is your Twitter handle? Where do they go to follow Wall Street Bets?
Best place is on Twitter. It's at Wall Street Bets, all spelled out. I have a bunch of other ones, but that's usually where I post all my latest things.
Amazing. Jamie, thank you so much, my man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, guys. I mean, it's big. It's big. I mean, let's do stuff with Jamie. Let's all go and follow his Twitter community, because I got a feeling that this whole Wall Street Bets movement is going to become majority crypto too, and we'll merge the two worlds. Sheldino.
Yo. What happened to Arweave, buddy?
What is Arweave?
Go look at Arweave. Just put my chart up there.
Oh no. People responded to Little Birdie. I didn't say when, guys. I did not say when. Man. It's not supposed to. It's a very bad thing. It's a very, very bad thing. Let's see if Fred is on the line. Frederico.
Yeah.
Listen, kids, so it's been amazing to have us back as a family. I'm glad we're all back. I'm glad we're doing this again. Thank you. I'll see everybody again tomorrow, 6 a.m. EST for Sheldon Show. I actually will try and be here again. Also, it was a disaster this morning, but I will be again, even though it means I have to wake up at 4. See you guys tomorrow.
Awesome, buddy. Very excited.
Go, guys. Guys, and thank you very much. You are the best community in the world. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to structure a portfolio in this new market cycle that we have discovered. And the data showed that the market cycle was actually right. Sheldon showed it to you on the charts. And we also, don't forget, there is this show from the Bitcoin Miami 2021 conference, confirmed Ethereum wins. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. So I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, if you are trading, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Banter is a social podcast for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers should not be construed as financial advice. Views expressed by guests and hosts do not reflect the views of the station. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research.